Russell Vogt said the reductions in force have begun related to this shutdown. How many layoffs have you authorized for this first round, and from which agencies?
And it will be Democrat-oriented, because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot, and we'll announce the numbers over the next couple of days, but it'll be a lot of people. And I must tell you, a lot of them happen to be Democrat-oriented. These are people that the Democrats wanted, that in many cases were not appropriate. We fought them at the time, and it was ultimately signed in. And some of these people, these are largely people that the Democrats want. Many of them will be fired.
We are officially here. The mass layoffs that Trump said would happen are happening. Federal workers are being let go. Layoffs are now beginning. Over 4,000 workers have already been let go. Thumbs up this video, smash subscribe. Let's get into it.
All right, so here we go again with the Democratic shutdown. So Trump had run on smaller government, and Trump had told the Democrats that if they didn't agree on a bill to keep the government open, that he was going to start cutting programs. Well, what happens now is Trump has the authority to cut funding to programs. With no funding, these programs don't have employees. So what's happening now? Federal employees are going to lose their jobs. Why are they going to lose their jobs? Because the Democrats chose to stand 10 toes down on the bill that they created that was full of pork and beans. That's what they did. Full of pork and beans. So what's going to happen now is U.S. citizens are going to lose their job. And I just want to make it known that they had a continuation bill agreed on already to keep the government open for these 7 weeks that were in question. And they thought that they had it where it was going to pass through House, Senate, be done, and we would have our 7 weeks of government functioning until we get to this point again. And the Democrats decided, oh no, we're not going to do that. We're going to pour a bunch of pork and beans in here and try to make Donald Trump look bad. Well, all they've done is make themselves look bad, because anybody who opens their eyes and looks at this without the rose-colored, I hate Donald Trump, orange man, bad, the Democrats are the best, the Republicans are the worst. Anybody who looks at it through normal eyes should be able to see what's going on. You know, TDS is real, and it's obviously real, and we can look at the things that people say on that programming box in your living room and fully understand why TDS is real. But what people need to understand is that Trump warned the Democrats. He told them this was going to happen if they didn't pull their pork and beans back out of the bill, and they decided not to. They left a little fatty fat in there, and here we are. Federal employees are now losing their jobs. There's no funding for the programs that they work for, so what's going to happen? They lose their jobs. So Democrats, I guess this one's on you too. You can make all the excuses you want to and say all the things that you want to about Donald Trump. He warned you. He told you. Y'all need to understand. He's not a man to try to call his bluff, because he says what he means, and he means what he says. And he's going to stand 10 toes down just like y'all are doing right now with all this stuff. Don't try Donald Trump. He ain't a player.
We've got a cryptic social media post from the head of the Office of Management and Budget at the White House, Russ Vogt, who has posted on X just a short time ago, the rifts have begun. RIF, R-I-F, stands for reduction in force. Remember, the Trump White House was threatening to permanently eliminate federal jobs as part of the overall government shutdown. Not clear how many jobs Russ Vogt is talking about here, where in the federal government they're being cut, if this is the first of a number of waves or what. But this is something that the Trump administration had been using to get leverage over congressional Democrats who, generally speaking, prefer to keep federal employees employed. Of course, conservatives argue there are too many federal employees who are not doing enough work anyway, so they would be more amenable to cutting the federal workforce. In terms of the details of what this post actually means, I just texted a White House official who responded to me. It seems very self-explanatory to me. So there you go, Scott. They're saying that the rifts have begun. We don't know how many, where, or how much this will continue, but obviously this is a leverage point that the White House has been seeking.
The government shutdown just turned into permanent layoffs. Let me explain in 30 seconds or less. The Trump administration started laying off thousands of federal workers. And no, this is not furloughs. These are permanent layoffs called reductions in force. At least 4,000 federal workers got layoff notices. The biggest cuts from the Treasury Department and Health and Human Services, over 1,100 each. This is all according to a Justice Department filing in a federal court in San Francisco. In a press conference on October 10th, President Trump said the firings will be Democrat-oriented. Now, 2 major unions filed a lawsuit to block the firings. One union represents federal workers in Social Security and Homeland Security, and the other represents more of public workers like people who work in healthcare. They're calling these layoffs illegal, and they actually have a court hearing on Wednesday in San Francisco, so time will tell what happens with that. So there's a lot to unravel with this government shutdown. If you need some help navigating through it, I'm Brianna. I am an Emmy Award-winning anchor. I'm a native New Yorker, and I help navigate all the things from news, interesting headlines, pop culture. Let me know. I can help you navigate that. And if you have any other questions about the government shutdown, let me know.
Got to go to court over what Trump is doing. I said that on a video. I said Trump really does not know if he can do the things that he tries. First he tries it, then it has to go to court and is ruled legal or illegal. Ever since he got in there this term, that's been the norm. There's a back and forth in the midst of it with the courts to determine if it's constitutional or not. We'll see. But for the meantime, y'all heard it. Over 4,000 workers are alleged to be let go.
It is now day 11 of the government shutdown, and the White House has started firing federal workers. The scope of this is still really unclear, but the White House says about 4,000 federal employees will be fired. And look, I know we say unprecedented a lot in the news, but this has never been done before. Typically during a government shutdown, workers are furloughed, which means you stay home, you don't get a paycheck. You do get back pay though when the government reopens. But now the White House is threatening to take that away too. And they're placing the blame on Democrats. They say they need to back off their demands and fund the government. Meanwhile, I'll tell you, lawmakers have left Capitol Hill. They are home for the weekend, and they are still getting their paychecks as millions of federal workers wonder if they'll ever see their next one.
Hate to be a federal worker right now. What's up, all my federal workers? How are y'all feeling without knowing if you will be let go or not? Without knowing if you have a paycheck coming or not? This is unprecedented. Out of all the government shutdowns, this is the first time it's been handled this way.
It is now day 12 of the government shutdown, and 2 updates to share with you guys. First, remember how I said the Trump administration started mass firings and layoffs of federal workers? Well, we are now learning that the Trump administration mistakenly laid off workers from the CDC.
Ain't no mistakenly. How do you mistakenly lay off people? How can you mistakenly lay off workers from anywhere? There's a process. You don't just mistakenly be like, oh, oops, I made a mistake and did layoffs. Must have been sleepwalking and just... Like, how do you mistakenly lay off people? Get out of here with that.
That some of those employees were working on Ebola outbreaks in Africa, measles outbreaks here in the United States. And we have been talking a lot about how troops would go unpaid if Congress does not reach a deal to fund the government. Well, there's still no deal, but President Trump put out this social media post saying that he is directing his Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, to use all available funds to pay the military. And of course, here answering your questions on the shutdown, so drop them below.
Okay, now peep the setup. Expect another outbreak. The sparse pandemic roadmap said that an unexpected outbreak would surface or come about in or around the end of 2025, October to be exact. If you read the roadmap for their simulation, where they conduct simulation attacks and what would happen and how the people would respond, it's basically them doing predictive programming of how they're going to conduct the next pandemic. They were calling it Disease X at first. Why was it called Disease X? Because they didn't name it yet. Okay, I don't see anything on Disease X, but as of 1 day ago, new pandemic coming. Japan declares national flu outbreak, over 4,000 hospitalized. Flu surges in Asia. Could getting sick year-round be the new normal? 7 hours ago from Daily Mail. Pandemic experts haunting predictions on how the big one will strike. Now, y'all connect the dots. They're laying off those that are in charge to help us fight these outbreaks, while news articles are being updated that a new one is approaching. How ironic. Or should I say unironic?
Okay, so as this shutdown continues, now they have begun another round of massive layoffs. We're talking about over 4,000 employees already having been targeted with projections for more, and this is over 7 major Fed departments. This includes Housing and Urban Development, Treasury, Commerce, Energy, Homeland Security, but also Health and Human Services, specifically the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Wow. Also, the Department of Education, primarily elementary and secondary education. Y'all, when I say the future, the kids, who's thinking about them? Because it doesn't seem to be the people in charge. Furthermore, I was listening to a political podcast. This lady was saying that her husband was in the military, that her family lived paycheck to paycheck, and that her children were on meds. And the fact that if her husband did not get paid, they would not be able to afford the meds that her kids needed in order to survive. And she was saying that she's a Republican, and she was urging the people who are in charge in her state to please do something to advocate on her behalf, because her kids quite literally need these meds to survive, and this shutdown is preventing them from getting the medications because her husband won't be able to get a check.
Take the herbalist route. I'm telling you, people gonna come to learn that they don't need these medicines. Medicines are nothing more than stripped from herbs and cut. They cut them with pharmaceutical chemical compounds that are made in the lab. They want you to depend on the medicine so your body becomes in fight or flight mode without it. That's the thing. You don't need any medicine. You need herbs, holistic remedies, detox, and fasting. That's what people need. Those are the cures to every ailment, every illness, every sickness, every dis-ease. Your body is at dis-ease. It's not at ease. But I'm gonna let her keep going.
This is where we are. I think that people are so focused on like the big picture that they're not zooming in to see what is going on with individual families, and that this is beyond parties, and that this is just about human beings. People are just more focused on the power dynamic, on the greed, and wanting to be the ones that are right and in charge, that they don't understand the severity of how these shutdowns are affecting households and how people are not able to pay their mortgages, their rent, their bills, their medication, their insurance, and things of that nature. But I'm just going based off what I see online. Let me know if you guys are keeping up with this. Let me know if you've been affected by this shutdown. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, save this video, go look into it, come back, let me know what you think, because it's absolutely deplorable. It's absolutely insane, and it's very much terrifying, because if this shutdown continues, how far will they let it go? How many people will have to lose before somebody begins to advocate on behalf of the people? Per usual, these are just my personal opinions going based off what I see online. I don't want to misinform you. I can't confirm or deny anything. This is all alleged, but definitely encourage you to research it. I'll be back. Like, follow, stay for some more.
So let's continue the conversation about being ripped from the federal government and laid off after 16 years. I want to start answering some of the questions that people have been asking me regarding what I'm doing now, how I feel, all the things. So this is part 1 of that series. So the first question is, when did I realize that I needed to start betting on myself? So I always been the type of woman to bet on myself, and that was really because I developed hyper independence at a very young age, probably due to childhood traumas and feeling like I had to be in survival mode. Not feeling like I had to be in survival mode, but because I had to be in survival mode for so many spaces and places in my life. And so when I actually got to the feds, I started off as a front desk admin person, but then there were some other black women in the office who had been in the acquisitions career and encouraged me to also get into acquisitions as a contract specialist. And then I grew into a contracting officer. And so just watching those women bloom in their careers was always an encouragement and motivation that I could also do it. And I ended up doing it in a very short period of time. So even before I was 30, I was high up on the GS scale. But just even walking that whole career path and seeing that I was able to do that, it also just pushed me even further to always bet on myself, because once I set my mind to do something, I know I'm gonna get it done. Point blank, period. It's just about discipline, consistency, and just making my mark. And so, yeah. In fact, I had started my business, Chloe Maud House, which is, I'm a handbag designer as well. I started that business while I was with the feds, because I always knew I did not want to retire from the feds. That was just a stepping stone and a piece of the puzzle for my purpose and destiny and all the things. But it allowed an opportunity for me to live out my dreams and make some of the investments that I've made over time. So betting on myself has pretty much always been in my blood. It's just who I am as a person, as a woman, and I'm proud of that. And that's going to take me to my next stage in life. So to anybody who has been ripped, anybody who has been laid off, you lost your job, whatever have you, be it feds or not, just as a word of encouragement, I do want to tell you that this is not the end of the road. It may seem like something has come to a close, because at the end of the day, it has. I'm literally starting a new book. It's not even a chapter. It's a whole new book. We're not turning any pages. We're closing a book and starting a new one. And that's okay. It's okay to bet on yourself. In fact, you really should, because we can't rely on anybody for real but God. And that's where I choose to keep my faith and my hope in. So I hope this helps somebody. And that's that. I'll see you in part 2.
since the government shut down, you guys, Trump has fired lots and lots of employees from different departments, okay, y'all? And it's been it's been thousands, low-key, okay? So the Department of Education, y'all, lost 466 employees. The Department of Commerce has lost 315 employees. The Department of Energy, 187. The Department of Health and Human Services, y'all, that's 1,200 employees that has lost their jobs. The Department of Housing and Urban Development lost 442 employees. The Department of Homeland Security, 176 employees have been fired. And the Department of Treasury, y'all, they've lost 1,446 employees. So we're watching them, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, y'all, fire people since this government shut down, and people are losing their jobs. Things are getting very much, has already been serious since Trump has gotten into the office. Honestly, if you ask me, ever since before Biden even got out of the fucking office last year, September, things have been crazy as hell. And this really is just, you know, the icing on the cake. But I just wanted to let y'all know the firings and how much people are being affected by this government shutdown.
Things have been crazy since Biden has been in office. They've gotten worse since he got out of there, as expected, honestly. I've been telling y'all, expect for things to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's not a doom and gloom channel. It's an I'm going to prepare you channel. It's not to scare you, to prepare you. That's the purpose of this channel, and to wake people up to stop trusting in the government, because the government are doing nothing more than making themselves richer, making the people poorer, and stripping away our freedoms from us. They've never been for you, never will be for you. Don't lie to yourself and act like they've ever helped you, because they haven't. Not on a broad spectrum, no, they haven't. They might have gave you certain little benefits, but they've never helped you substantially. That's not even their purpose. They don't care about the people. They've pillaged the land. They've been using and abusing us since the beginning of time. We can go all the way back. These are demonic entities in power. Let me know what y'all think about this video. It's getting real-er. It's already been real. It's getting real-er each day that the government is shut down. Drop your thoughts, comments, and opinion. And below, I appreciate you for watching. Peace to my Hebrew fam. Shalom. I'll catch y'all on the next one.